My brother and sister back home were devastated by the news. I am the Phantom, and this is Scary Short Stories. DredgenSpectre on Reddit writes, Faint Whispers. For the last few years, my home hasn't felt like home. The natural lighting that the windows offer has been washed out. The air itself has been stale. Oftentimes, I find that two shadow people would walk around my home. At first, they didn't seem to notice me or really ever acknowledge me at that point. When I did see them, which would usually happen in small blips, it was just of their silhouettes. Sometimes they'd be walking around, sometimes they'd be sitting down, sometimes they'd stand around, usually in my bedroom doorway. I debated with myself whether or not it was just my mind playing tricks, or if it was actually witnessing something paranormal. Despite myself questioning, I know I wasn't entirely crazy because my dog, Chowder, would also see them. He actually seemed to love them. He was never able to truly interact with them, but he'd often dance around their shadows and would try barking to gather their attention. It rarely worked though, and he would usually just end up tired and deflated. Sometimes, however, when he would bark, the shadows would stop moving, almost as if they were in fact shocked by his calling. I'd often wondered if they could see me as I see them, or even Chowder for that matter. Sometimes it would be very rare that they would react to our actions. When that would happen, that'd usually be the only time I could hear them. In response to our actions, they'd speak back to us in faint whispers. I was never able to truly make out what they were saying. In fact, only a few times I was able to make out my name, and even Chowder's too. If I wanted to communicate with them, I'd usually have to move something or make a lot of noise. That being said, I felt as though I had a strange bond with them. I wasn't exactly fearful of their presence, and I didn't know who they were or why they were living among us, until I inevitably found out. I died 3 years ago. I died in a car crash while driving home from the dog park. I had died at the scene, and Chowder passed away on the drive to the emergency vet. My brother and sister back home were devastated by the news. They would often cry and call out for us by name. From time to time, they would stand at my bedroom door and mourn. A few times they tried to communicate to us directly, but the barrier between us was too strong. All I could seem to cast to them was my shadow, and the occasional noises that I'd make. In return, all I could get back are their shadows and occasional whispers. Their muffled, faint whispers.